All right, sixth graders, we're going to start chapter 6, sorry. Chapter 6, lesson 1. And in chapter 6, we're going to move on from adding and subtracting fractions to multiplying and dividing fractions. So you're going to really have to know your multiplication and division tables and basic facts really, really well in order to do well on this, okay, and to do well in this chapter. Practice those every day, okay? Use apps. Go online and play games that use multiplication tables and division tables. You have to know them all the way up to 12 really, really well. Okay? So that if I just say the number 54, you can tell me what does 54 divide by?
9 and 6.
9, 6. What else? 9, 6. What else?
6 and 9.
Yeah, you name those.
Oh, 9.
8. That's 56.
Yeah.
Is it divisible by 2?
Yeah. So it'd be 2 and 13. Wait, what was it?
2 and 27.
Oh,
2 and 27. Yeah. Yep. And some of those things.
No.
Okay.
5 plus 4 is 9.
Let's talk about estimating. When you're estimating something, the first thing that you should do is round the numbers. Whenever you're estimating, you're rounding the numbers that are given. Especially with multiplication, you're rounding them to the closest or to the nearest. And then multiplying or dividing, okay? So this is an example. 2 and 4/5. 2 and 4/5 is closest to 3. 5 and 1/3 is closest to 5. And so we round this to 3 times 5. Okay? Now, what if we have one like this though, where instead of a mixed number, we have a fraction. Let's say that we have 13 and 1/8 times 11 15. What would we round these to? Brett?
13 times a half.
13 times a half.
Wait, so 13 times.
Right, so what we're looking at here is on our number line, and draw this in your notes, we have 0, 1/2, and 1. When you're rounding fractions like this, you're going to have to decide, is this closest to 0, 1/2, or 1? And we've done that before. Right? You practiced that last chapter. 0, 1/2, or 1. Then that's why you worked on that, so you could apply that. 11/15. How do you find half of 15? Is this closest to a half or 1? Emily? 1. So what is half of 15? Cool? 7.5. 15 divided by 2 is 7.5. Okay? And so 11 minus 7.5 about 3.5 or 4, right? Since it's right in between, it's basically right here, it's easiest to round this one to 1. You could really round it to either one. There we go. But in this case, that would just round to 1 probably. Okay? Now, we would do 13 times 1 then. 13. So this would be our estimate. Okay? That would be our estimate for that. Let's do another one. Let's do one from your worksheet. 11/12 times 1 1/4. And this is part of your assignment, so you might as well follow along. What's 11/12 close to? Tyler?
1.
1. What's 1 1/4 close to? 1. So that one is just 1. And that's what you need to write down on the line. 1 times 1. Yep, the dot is times, yep. Yep, we're using dots now instead of the X sign because we're learning algebra. We're learning pre-algebra symbols. Okay, getting you ready for next year. So use the dot for times. Now, let's talk a little bit about division. With division, we have to use compatible numbers. Okay? Let's see, let's put one before this. So for division, write this down. For division, always use compatible numbers. Numbers that divide evenly. Okay? So if we have like one like number 2, 18, and divide that by 5 and 5/7. What will we divide? Would we round this one?
20.
To 20 divided by 6?
20 divided by 10.
Why don't we just keep 18 and divide it by 6? These are compatible. Okay? So we only need to round one of them.
What do you use?
18 divided by 6 is 3, and that's the best answer. Because we have to use compatible numbers. Okay?
So then for number 4, where it says 12 2/3 divided by 7 × 8, you would make, instead of the 7 into like 7.5 or something like that, you go down, make it down to a 6 because they're compatible.
Correct.
So you need 2.
Right. Yep. Yep. Number 4 he's talking about. 12 and 2/3 divided by 7. Are those compatible? What numbers are close that are compatible? Okay, either 14 and 7 or 12 and 6, right? They're both the same answer. 14 divided by 7 is 2, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So either one of those are a good estimate. Either rounding it up or rounding it down.
So when it's not, when there's no whole number, when it's like 13 18ths divided by 1.
Alright, we're going to talk about that, alright? We're going to get that one. Okay? Now, what if, let's see, that's a division sign, isn't it? Yep. So number 5, 13 18ths divided by 11/12. Are any of these, what are these closest to?
11/12 is closest to 1,
Yep.
and 13 18 is closest to 1.
It's really closest to 1 also. So 1 divided by 1. So that's equal to 1,
0.
right? Yep, we're just estimating, okay? And so copy these down. Yeah, these are from your assignment. That's why we're doing these, okay? How about, going back to number 3, that one is multiplication, right? Do you need to round 25 to 30? No, you can do 25 times 2.
50.
50, right? How about number 6 is also multiplication? Number 6 is 9 times 8 and 9/10. Do we need to round this to 10? What's the closest whole? 9, right? So that would be 9 times 9, which is 81. Okay. Go to the back side. And look at number 4. There's one more thing about division that I want you to know, okay? Oh wait, let's do this. When you're dividing, one of the things that you have to think about is dividing by 1/2 or 1/3 or 1/4. Okay? That's what we're going to talk about here. When you're dividing something by half, what you're doing is cutting it into what?
Half. Half.
2
halves.
Yeah, so if I have this, if I have one whole, and I cut it in half, how many pieces do I have? 2. So I had 1 times 1/2 is what?
2.
Is 2. Okay, I'm sorry, dividing it by 1/2, because I'm dividing it. 1 divided by 1/2 is 2. What if I have 1 and I divide it into thirds? How many is that?
3.
3. So 1 divided by 1/3 is 3. Do you see a pattern here yet?
Yeah.
What's 1 divided by fourths? 4. 1 divided by 1/4 is 4. Okay? Now, class, what if I have 2 divided by 1/2? How many would that be?
1 and 1/2. Oh wait, never mind. That would be 4.
What if I had 2 of these?
4.
Where's that 4 coming from? 2
holes.
2 wholes divided by 2. Right? What if I have 2 and divide them by thirds? 6. And what if I have 2 and divide it by fourths?
8.
Where are these pieces? Yeah. Look, what if we multiply the whole number by the denominator? 1 times 3. 1 times 4. 2 times 2. 2 times 3. 2 times 4. Right? What did you say, Nate?
I said, why don't they just call it times a multiplication problem?
That's exactly what we're going to be doing. When we're dividing, we're going to turn it into multiplication. Okay? That's exactly right. When we're dividing, we're going to turn it into multiplication. What if we have one like this then? Number 4 in your assignment on the back page. 39 and 3/4 divided by 1/2.
you wouldn't change it to 1.
So we'd round this to 40. Do we have to round this to anything?
No.
Or can we just multiply it by
2.
2
You can do both.
times 2?
Can you actually do like multiply by 1?
No, because it's closest to a half. And we know how to do that. When you're dividing it by half, we're just cutting them all into 2. So whenever you're dividing by a half, or dividing by a third, or dividing by a fourth, you're multiplying it by 2 or 3 or 4. Okay? Now, that only works when you have 1/2 or 1/3 or 1/4. Okay? Then we can just multiply it by 2 or by 3 or by 4. Because we're just cutting them into thirds or fourths or halves. Okay, we're not cutting them into 2/3. We're not cutting them into 3/4. We're cutting them into fourths or halves. Okay? What's number 13?
Oh, I know.
What would we do with number 13? Yep, 2 3/5 divided by 1/3. What's this closest to? It's actually closest to 2.5, isn't it?
Yeah, because you just have to go down and half.
It's
Okay.
2.5.
So 2.5 times,
It's divided by.
it's divided by, but divided by a third means it's times 3.
So it'd be 6.
So how else can you do multiplication with halves? Can you add 2.5 plus 2.5 is what? 2?
What?
2.5 plus 2.5 is 5. 5 plus 2.5 is
7.5.
so 7.5 is the best estimate.
I just did 3 times 2 and then added
1.5. Good.
I even
When you're multiplying, it's adding the same number, right?
Yeah.
When you first learn how to multiply,
Oh, I see it. Oh.
you learn that
Because
3 times 3 is the same as 3 plus 3 plus 3, right?
Yeah, so that would be 9. And then
So this is 2.5 times 3. 2.5 plus 2.5 plus 2.5. Okay?
oh, okay.
So, for today, let's review. Multiplying, when you're multiplying, you can round it to 0, to 1/2, or to 1, or just round to the nearest whole when it's closest. Okay? Then we talked about dividing, and either using compatible numbers or dividing it by halves or thirds or fourths. And to multiply it, multiply the whole number times the denominator when you're doing that. Okay? So do both sides of the worksheet. It's just rounding and multiplying or dividing, okay?